Here's just some of the tomatoes I've gotten over the last few days, and I'll pick this one up. You can kind of see how big that one is. Oh, it's alive, and you can see how big it is fitting in my hand. This is one I'm going to have to cut up here pretty soon, but I've got all these, and I've got a few more over here. I've got some here. These this group right here, I've cooked down quite a bit, and it's just kind of all paste. When I get in closer, it's all the seeds and everything in here. This one I've cooked down not quite as far, but what I'll do is I'll send them in a blender and then blend them all up and then send them through a colander and filter them out. And this is what I've got going now. This is how I start them out. I just kind of chop them up, get them cooking down, and then when they cook down to like one of the other ones, then I'll send it through the blender. So let me pause this one, and I'll show you what the other group looks like after I send it through the blender. And this is after I took that small container and I put it through the blender. This is kind of what it looked like, pretty thick in there. And then some of you may recognize this if you've seen your grandma using something. But we use this when we're making jellies to get the seeds out of, like in raspberries and stuff like that. So just pour this in here. This one's a little bit thicker. And then you take this thing here, and as you roll it around, it pushes all the stuff out. And what you end up with in here is your seeds and your skin and stuff like that don't blend up very well. And this one don't have a whole lot in it yet. So I've got some more of this here, and I'll take and put some of this in here. I have a ladle over here that I can scoop it in. And don't forget to put your lid back on, because otherwise you get it all over the place. And it's going to get a bit noisy, but turn it up on the highs will go on liquefy. And you can see it's kind of all blended up. Pour it in. You do kind of make a little bit of a mess. And what you end up on here is all your seeds in the skin that didn't get blended up. Then you have a nice smooth juice. So pull out some of this here. You can see that's just a pure juice in there. It's a little bit thick, depends on how much you cook it down. And then I can cook it. I can cook this down a little bit more if I want to make it into more of a sauce. I just cook it a little bit longer, and then all you do is just scrape this off into another container, and this gets thrown away into a compost pile out in the garden. And I don't think your seeds aren't going to really grow because you've cooked them. But then that's the stuff that got the seeds in it and stuff like that I take out of my juice and sauces. But that's how I make my sauces. I'm back here to turn this way. So that's how I do it. I'll show a little bit more when I get to the next point, but that's what I do, and that way I don't have all the seeds and everything else in there. I don't have to worry about peeling them. Some will take and blanch them a little bit and then peel off the skins. And I figure this is easier because there is a lot of nutrition in the skins as well. This way I get all the nutrition that doesn't get cooked out of them into the sauce. So that's how I do my tomato sauces. Just a continuation of my tomato canning, and what I did is after I cooked it down and made it kind of thick and into like a sauce and a soup, and so I decided to go ahead and make some tomato soup. So what I did was added in some butter and some onion. Then I re-blended them. And these two pans back here, this back one was completely full. This one was about half full. And we ended up having 3 bowls of it last night for dinner. And so this is all I got out of it so far. But it turned out really good. All it was is probably almost 2 sticks of butter and an onion and some salt is all I put in it, and it turned out really good. So that's where I'm at today. I'm gonna go through and blend this up, and if you remember from the video earlier, it was completely full, in fact a little bit over, so that's what it cooked down to. So I'm going to go ahead and blend that up and then start cooking it down. I sent it through the colander to clear out the seeds and the skins. Then I'm going to start cooking it down, and I'm going to add some more onion and butter, and I'm going to make soup this year. I've got plenty of tomato sauce and tomato juice, and I made some like a V8 juice with multiple different stuff in it, and I made some set up with some basil in it so that I can use it for spaghetti sauce. So this time I think I'll do mostly soup this year because it turned out really good, and I think quart size would be just about right. By the time we warm one of those quarts back up, that'd be pretty much a meal for both of us, and probably a little bit left. So I'm gonna pause this one, and I'll come back when I get everything else blended up and cooking down. Well, here's the tomatoes after I went through and done to the blender and removed all the seeds and skin that didn't come in. You can see it's really thin right now, so I'll cook that down until it's fairly thin, and then what I'll do is or fairly thick rather, it's too thin now. I'll cook it down until it's get a little bit thicker, till it's almost to where I want it for the soup, and then I'll cut up some onions and put in there and cook them down until it's about the consistency that I want, and then I'll send it through the blender again, and then I'll start adding a little salt until I get to the flavor I want for the soup. And that's kind of pretty much all there is, just tomatoes, onions, and salt, and it turned out really good. So I'll keep you up on that. Once I get a little bit next stage, I'll continue on with that. Hey, it's been cooking down for a little while. It's starting to get a little thicker. I like to cook mine down until when you put one of these spoons in, it kind of sticks in here. When I first started, it would just run right through. So it's getting thicker. It'll be a little bit longer before we get there, but we'll just kind of keep watching it and cooking it down until it gets consistency that I like for my soup. There we go. Okay, I've got it cooked down a little bit here. It's a little bit thinner. It was up to here, and it's cooked down to there about 25%. I'm going to add my onions and cook them down some more. And then once those get done cooking, then I'll send it to the blender again, and then start and put some butter in here pretty soon. I gotta get the rest of the butter ready, and then from there, then I'll be I send it to the blender again, and we'll get back when that gets ready. Okay, now we've got it cooked down. I had the onions in here, and I blended them, put the butter in here, and now this is a lot thicker. Kind of like I like them, a little bit thicker soup. Don't like them real watery down. So now I'm just going to put a little salt in it, salt it to taste. And I don't like putting the salt in until the end, because then it, as it cooks down, it gets saltier. So that's what it looks like now. It's salted, and then we're going to have that. We're going to fix some grilled cheese to go along with it, and that's going to be our dinner for today.